Welcome back. The conversation about birthright citizenship has made its way all the way to the Supreme Court. Here to talk about is immigration attorney Salvador Macias. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's always good to talk to you on these topics. The Trump administration's interpretation could affect millions of people if the Supreme Court sides with that interpretation.
Correct.
So what would it mean, and how do you see the court deciding this?
Well, that's just it. People assume that birthright citizenship is going to affect immigrants.
Right.
You know, it's really easy to be like, hey, it affects them, not me. But this Supreme Court decision actually affects every American because they're not only deciding birthright citizenship, they're deciding if a judge has the ability to issue a national injunction. That means that a judge from a certain area could decide, hey, but while we're debating this, I'm going to put a pause on it nationwide.
Right.
And that would affect anyone, regardless of immigration status, depending on what's being heard before the court.
So when you look, you're right, that would affect a bigger number of people. But the question that the Trump administration is asking is, or believes, what they believe is that just because you're born on U.S. soil doesn't automatically mean you're a U.S. citizen. Correct. How many people would that affect? Do you have a number of how many people that would affect now and future? We know it could be millions.
Yes, I mean, I don't know a number off the top of my head. There's estimations that there's 11 million people here undocumented, up to 20 million, depending on who you're asking. Now, those people are typically people that were young when they entered the United States. They probably have families. They have United States citizen children. Now, this administration, what they want to do is not so much as a retroactive, as in from this moment forward, if you're born to someone who's not a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident, you will not be a United States citizen. And that's where we get into the question of, are you subject to the jurisdiction? And I think the administration needs to be very careful when they tread that.
So not to add, I'm not trying to convolute things, but you and I have talked in the past about dreamers.
Correct.
So they are not U.S. citizens.
Correct.
But most of those are now adult age and having children. Would this affect them having children?
Directly. I am a dreamer myself. My wife is a dreamer. We've been in the United States for nearly 3 decades. Now, I have 2 children who are currently United States citizens. Now, if this goes into effect, that means that if I decide to have a 3rd child, that child will no longer be a United States citizen. They will be undocumented, although I've gone through preschool, elementary school, you name it, all the way through law school in the state.
Would it automatically mean that, or is that up to the discretion of the U.S. government?
No, they're saying that the Constitution has always said this, so it would be automatic that they would lose their citizenship.
Because the concern is, and I agree with the concern, is when there have been people that have come here with the express purpose of having their children here for that benefit, that they want that to stop. But it's not as simple as that.
No, it's not. And the thing is, when you say someone is no longer subject to the United States, you just gave all these individuals diplomatic immunity. That means you can't charge them in court, in criminal court. You have to say this person is subject to the jurisdiction of Phoenix, the jurisdiction of Arizona. If they're no longer subject to the jurisdiction of the government, that means that you're giving them a carte blanche to avoid crime, which is, I know, what the administration doesn't want to do, but they have to be very careful with the language they use.
So what is the answer, in your opinion, because you're a lawyer, what is the answer, in your opinion, to solve the problem that they believe exists with people coming here to have children just for the citizenship part of it and not causing the problems that you're concerned about?
I think that's where they need to get to work. Come on, get Congress to go along with you. Decide to enact a law that might be a little bit more tighter based on visas. For example, if someone is seen to have come on a visa, decided to have a child here just because they entered legally, and then decide to leave, well, maybe that person loses their visa status. That doesn't necessarily mean the person lost their citizenship, but now you're going after the person that violated what was the intent of that visa.
So, in your opinion, after watching how the court is dealing with this, how do you think the court will decide?
I think the court isn't even looking at birthright citizenship. They're looking at the decision of, do we allow governments, courts, to issue nationwide injunctions? And the best way I describe it to some people, imagine this is a Democratic president. He issues an order that says, we are creating a registry for all weapons. You have to turn them over, and you can only check one out one at a time. Obviously, the state of Texas is going to come out and say, we're not having that. Okay, great. But now the state of Texas can't protect the rest of the country. Now you have to have each individual come up and do a lawsuit, create class actions. Now, what everyday American has the ability, the money to be able to hop into a class action and protect their rights? So we have to be very careful here. This isn't only Republican or Democrat. This is about who's actually losing their rights here, who's here losing protections. It's not just the immigrants, folks. It's everybody.
I always enjoy the conversation. You're always great information, so I appreciate you coming down.
Of course, thank you so much.
Very complicated, and we're going to keep on it. We'll be back. Coming up, President Trump argued...